Hey, what's up everybody? This is Oceanberg501 and today I wanted to go over the gathering system in New World and how I think it could potentially influence the entirety of the MMO genre. The gathering system was the main feature that was kept from the first iteration of New World back when it was a full loot PvP survival game where players built all the structures, and the game is massively different from what it was attempting to be back then in its first alpha, but I am very glad that they kept the survival-esque gathering system that we still have in New World, because I think this is one of the best parts of New World, and I think it has a pretty good chance of influencing the whole of the MMO genre. And I think that comes down to this gathering system just being superior to what most MMOs have for gathering professions. So if you compare New World's gathering to something like World of Warcraft, which is a more old school MMO type of gathering system, you can see the big differences in why New World system is just better. So if you're gathering in World of Warcraft, you have mining or herbalism, so just gathering mines or gathering plants. Essentially how this would go is you would just follow a decent path you find in a zone to find whichever resource you're looking for, and you're following this path, and every little bit you'll find a new node. You're not going to be able to find just a ton of nodes laid out everywhere, because essentially in something like WoW, there will only be a certain amount of nodes in a specific area populated at one time. So even if someone found every single node spawn location in WoW, because all the nodes still have specific spawn spots, you still wouldn't be able to find them that easily because only a small amount are populated and they have their own unique look, so they don't look like any other vegetation or rocks in the game, and it's very sparse. And like I said, the farming would just be essentially following a path, stopping every time you find a node, and it's a very boring way of farming and is something you would just turn on Netflix or something like that to do. But if you compare this to what New World has, New World is not only more organic and natural with how you're going about farming all these resources, but it's also much more engaging. And this can be attributed to a few different things. So the first part of this is pretty much every single thing in New World is gatherable. Every tree you come across, except a few of the really massive ones that are almost more like set pieces in the world, but pretty much every other tree is gatherable if you have the skill. Pretty much every single plant in the game is gatherable if you have the skill, and then every rock, every ore node is gatherable unless it's a literal piece of like a mountain or the foundation of a map. So that's the first part that makes it much more engaging because it seems much more natural and you can gather legitimately everything. So it's much more about targeting the things you want and finding the good areas to farm the things you want, because you could just go along aimlessly and gather absolutely everything for an infinite amount of time without getting the thing you want because of how much stuff there is to gather. And also with all of the nodes and the resources in New World, they're all determined spawn spots. So if you find a iron node in this one spot, it will always respawn at that specific spot. And something that's quite a bit different with New World as well is that all of these spawns can be populated at the same time. So say if you find a big area, a big ridge that has a ton of ore spawns, you can go along, get all of those ore spawns, wait for the spawn timer, and every single one of those ore spawns will respawn even if all the other ones are up. So every single spawn can be populated at the same time, which also makes farming a bit more exciting and engaging because you're not having to wait so much time between getting another gatherable. And another thing that makes the gathering in New World more engaging is having all the different gathering tools and having them be actual gear pieces, because most other MMOs, especially when you go to more old school MMOs, you essentially just get a gathering tool and that's the gathering tool. But in New World, you have all your different gathering tools, and then you have the same tier system that the armor and weapons in the game have. So you can go from tier 1 to 5, that a baseline will keep increasing the stats for gathering. It will make you gather things faster, and then you can keep going up in rarity like all the other gear pieces in the game as well to get more perks and better stats on them. So say you could get a pick with a perk that gives you more resources or has a chance to give you more rare resources. You could get a perk that has a chance to give you Azoth every time you gather something, or any number of other perks. And this allows you to actually gear up the gathering profession you're trying to do. So if you spent the money or time to get the best in slot rolled mining pick at the highest tier, you could be much better at gathering than someone else who didn't put in as much work or resources to have a tool like that. And like I said, I do think New World's gathering system will have an influence on future MMOs. I doubt there's going to be any game that is going to retroactively completely change up their gathering system, because that's also really hard or can be impossible in specific game engines. But I do think a lot of future MMOs, or at least some of them, will put a emphasis on doing a gather system like New World or like other survival games that have had this gathering system for a while. Because if you go to say something like Ark Survival Evolved, that has pretty much the same gathering system. Pretty much everything is gatherable. All the gatherable nodes can be spawned and populated at the same time. They all have their specific areas. They're not random spawn resources around. And I think that gathering type is much more engaging and much more addicting than a gathering system like World of Warcraft or a lot of these more old school MMOs. And you could go more in depth with this because there is a very well put together crafting system in New World to go along with the gathering system, but I mainly just wanted to focus on the gathering system. I do think the crafting system in New World is also very good and a lot better than a lot of the top MMOs right now. Like I said, I wanted to specifically go over just the gathering system because I think it's pretty unique for the MMO genre and is superior to a vast majority of the gathering systems in MMOs right now. So subscribe if you want to see more New World or other MMO videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment below what you guys think about the gathering system in New World, and thanks for watching.